Married filing joint versus married filing separate. If you have always wondered what is the big difference between the two, does one help more than the other? Which way should I go? Which one has the best benefit? I'm going to explain the two. Come on, let's go. So there are a lot of people when they go to file taxes, they either don't know what to choose or they just choose whatever they think they should choose, not knowing why, no rhyme or reason, just kind of choosing whatever they think is will be the best or whatever makes sense to them. So I'm going to break down the difference between married filing joint versus married filing separate so that you can hopefully get a better understanding on which way may be the best way to go depending on your situation. So number one, married filing joint has the biggest benefits, typically the most perks, as it pertains to filing taxes. So generally, when you file married filing joint, it results in a lower combined tax liability because there's a bigger standard deduction. I will list that standard deduction here. Full access to all credits and deductions, and I'll go through those credits and deductions when I talk about married filing separate and when they lose those actual credits and deductions. And there's a higher income threshold for phase out. So if you guys um, didn't know, some of the credits phase out, well, all of the credits phase out with a certain income. So they give you higher income. You have a higher income and still be eligible for certain tax credits, such as child tax credit, earned income credit, um, retirement savings credit, just a lot of the refundable credits. Spouses share liability. Now, this is not a perk. This is, well, just depending on the situation. It does help. So, in some cases, if one spouse didn't have enough taxes withheld, didn't pay taxes, but the other spouse had more than enough taken out, then it does help the other spouse to be able to reduce their taxable liability and you walk away not having to owe anything and not having anything holding you back in the long run. So let's talk about married filing separate. So married filing separate, I feel like it's kind of like a punishment. You get half of the standard deductions, and I will list that standard deduction here. You also lose out on many of the credits and or they're disallowed or they're reduced. You don't receive the earned income credit, child or dependent care credit, educational credits, elderly and disabled credit unless you lived apart, and that's the same thing for the earned income. Lower income limit, so that means versus the married filing joint, they increase the income phase out. With the married filing separate, they reduce it. So there's you can make a very little amount of money and it's like, oh, now you phase out of that credit, you're no longer eligible. Child tax credit, credit for other dependent, and retirement saver credit, they have reduced the income thresholds for that. So here are some reasons why some people may consider married filing separate, not just because it's what we want to do or because, we don't share information. We need to share information sometimes at this point if these particular situations don't pertain to you. So to protect from